Today on the podcast, we're going to be talking about my biggest business challenges for 2025. You, the viewers and listeners of this here podcast, have sent me in questions for me to answer. And I'm going to do my very best to give you the salient points that can really set you up for success in your business. You're going to love this. Take a watch. Hello, campers. Welcome back to the business broadcast. You all right, JB?
I'm very well, thank you,
I just declared my love to you in the intro.
You did.
There.
I like that. Thank you very much.
Not romantically. Let's
Sadly
just get
not.
that in because
Sadly not.
a lot of people think we are romantically involved.
Yep. I'm not that way inclined if I was, but you'd be my boyfriend.
Why? Well, because of the lifestyle I can offer you. Oh,
So I can knock about at March Farm for free.
We can roller skate day. Should we explain where we are?
Yes, please do.
We are in Roller City. Now,
We are.
usually when we make the pod, we're down to the end, aren't we?
Yes.
But we're not today.
We're not. We're right in the middle because it's the end of business. What was this one called?
This was called
Business
Buying.
Buying Business Masterclass.
Yeah, which we needed to put a Z on the end of buying businesses, I think.
Buying
James Sinclair's
businesses.
Buying Business Masterclass. Oh, no, maybe it works.
No, it does from an alliteration standpoint.
Okay.
How was the day?
Yeah, it's a long old day. It's quite heavy content because, you know, it's very accountancy.
Tactically stuff, isn't it?
Yeah,
today?
yeah. Business masterclass where we cover lots of things. It's a bit lighter. This is one whole day I do where people can buy businesses. And we filled the room.
Yeah, I know. There's 110 people.
I know, we're doing quite
Five
well.
people turn up on the day.
Yeah.
That's
paying their-
unheard of.
Yeah.
Please,
Can I come in and pay £600?
What was really interesting as well is there was people who was in this room who've been on this podcast, who've then sold their business, who've then come to find out what they should do next.
We're changing people's lives, JB.
Yes.
One.
More so you than me. I'm mainly doing the jingles.
No, mate. Me and you. People love you.
A guy came up to me earlier. He just said, "Oh, it's you from the podcast. I like the jingles." That's the only thing he said, and then he walked off.
Now, I actually think people value more than you may realise.
Let's hope so.
Yes, Chuds.
Oh, I don't know.
there you
Chuds,
go.
thanks,
They
Chuds.
loved
we haven't
you.
got Chuds mic'd up today.
There you go. Yeah, you usually do have Chuds mic'd
We
up.
are doing something very different, though. We're doing a Q&A.
A Q&A.
You've never done this before, have you?
No, we have. Yes, we have. But before you.
Edit that out then. You've done this before, haven't you?
Well, what we used to do. Now, to be fair, we used to do a YouTube live Q&A.
Oh, do you not do that anymore?
No. We're doing it now on the YouTube podcast
We
channel,
are.
but it's not live.
It's not live.
We've got all the questions. You're going to answer them.
Yes.
Ask me them. You're going to give
Try
me the
again.
question and I'm going to answer them.
That's right.
But before we do that, what else do we need to do? We need to
We
do
wanna
interesting fact or quote of the week.
But before that, we need to find out, did people like last week's episode, the special episode?
But we don't know if there's a normal episode in between.
There's not. Chuds has made an executive production decision. There is
Fine.
no in-between episode. It was that and this.
Yes. And then we're going back to our regular format, by
We
the
are.
way, because we've got people waiting. Like we're going into, I think, April next year that there's a waiting
I've
list to
started
get on.
getting
So,
notifications from
So if
Facebook.
you do want to come on the podcast and you want to apply, jamessinclair.net, click on podcast button, fill in the application form, and my team will decide whether you can get on or not.
And if you're nervous about doing it, that's the exact reason to do it. There's someone who reached out to me about 6 months ago and said, should I come and do it? I said, categorically, you should have went, I don't know what it's going to say to me. I was like, that's exactly why you need to come on, because it's not all beer and skills. We've had some people who didn't like the advice.
Yeah, actually, I had
quite
someone
frankly.
slag me off on LinkedIn the other
Yeah,
week.
you did, which I thought was very unjust. I particularly didn't like. I've listened for 5 minutes. Double morons.
Yeah, no, we did get a bit of hate there.
Yeah, we did.
But look, you know, I'm never going to sugarcoat what I believe.
No. He might sugarcoat his donuts, which are delicious, by the way. Go and check it out, Rossi Ice Cream.
There you go.
But not the advice. But this person is coming on now. He's got. I've taken the dive. Dive in 14th of January. He's coming on.
We would like your views on what you thought about last week's episode.
Yes.
Or the last episode where we had my accountant and a fellow, James Martin, who we speak about on the show all the time. We promised people we would bring him on.
And we did.
They were both guests here at Business Buying Class today. So we thought we'd get them on the show as well. And we had a good chinwag about this massive monumental tax changes that have happened here in the UK around entrepreneurship and business ownership.
I'd be really interested to get the feedback from people who are listening to this, because obviously there's like the lighter side of the stuff that we do and we have a bit of fun with it and all the rest of it. But I think actually the conversation in the last episode that you had, especially with John, where we got really into the nitty gritty, you could do this, you could do that, you could do the other, although we don't do politics or financial advice. It was entirely an episode filled with that. But I thought that was really, really good content.
Well, we should get on a few special guests every now and then. But I do prefer it just me and you, I think.
Yeah, I do as well.
What is your view? Do you think it works better just me and you, or every now and then?
I like having guests because they can just give a perspective. The thing with you, I'm here to dumb you down.
Right.
Frankly. Because otherwise you'll be like, yeah, but you get your EBITDAs, you do's, and then you do that. You're going to do a roll-up. Who's going to do a roll-up? I'm going to do a VC. I'm going to become a VC. You are your own economy. E plus M equals S. Don't forget your free KPIs. And all that kind of good stuff. But then if I just allowed you to go off down the rabbit hole for small entrepreneurs, they're like, what the hell was he bloody to? What's an EBITDA? Like, I'm just trying to turn a quid. So I think sometimes it's good to dumb it down. But I think equally it's good to
very nasty to me. I mean, you're nasty to me when it's just one-on-one. But when there was four of us.
Oh, because I had too much. I was just spitting hatred at Martin.
There we go. Did you feel that we delivered the flow well and kept the conversation moving enough?
Yeah, but let's find out what people thought.
Yeah, let us know what you think.
Also, sorry, if you did watch the last episode, please let me know if I was justified in my absolute disgust at James Martin's fact, which you allowed, which is about squirrels and trees. Absolute joke. For someone goes, this is a business podcast. Because you like him, be like, I was really good, that James. Yeah, because you used to cut down some trees and all that. Come on.
Well, ladies and gents, we are now going to hit
about
this first feature of the show, which is there's a knock at the door.
Interesting quote or fact. Interesting quote or fact. Interesting quote or fact. It's time for the interesting quote or fact of the week.
Welcome back, gang. Are you doing folked?
Folked or quoked? Are you? We all felt a bit folked after last week's conversation about Rachel Reeves. I'm going to go quote.
You're going to go quote.
I'll go quote.
Hit me with your quote.
One of the best things you can do to improve the world is to improve yourself.
Okay.
I love that.
I've got 10 fun facts for you.
Okay. Do you want a jingle?
Yeah. Let's have a little jingle.
Let's go on then.
You can't see your ears without a mirror.
Very true.
You listen to this, Chuds. You can't see your ears without a mirror.
You can't, you're right.
You can't count your hair. Very difficult. You can't breathe through your nose with your tongue out. Oh, you just did it, which was my next one. You just tried number 3. That was number 4. 6. When you did number 3, you realised that it is possible, only you look like a dog. Number 7, you are smiling right now because you were fooled. There we go. Number 8, you skipped number 5 because there was not a number 5. And number 9, you just checked to see if there is a number 5. Number 10, share this with your friends so you can have some fun too. Now, I'm now going to give you a business fact. I just thought that was very funny. Someone sent me that the other day.
I like that.
Here we go. How many million entrepreneurs are there around the world? According to Global Entrepreneurship Monitor. What's the number, baby?
How many millionaire entrepreneurs?
No. How many entrepreneurs are there in the world? This is counted as self-employed people and people that create their own income.
I think it's going to be 640 million.
Do you know what, my love? That's not a bad guess. But it's actually 582 million.
Is it?
I think that's 7 billion, 8 billion on the planet.
Yeah.
Is it 7 billion or 8 billion now? Can you just check
8.
that? What is the global population? Is it 8? I think it is.
It's 8, yeah. It's touching 8.
Okay. But 640 million of those are people that are classing
I guess it's
themselves
about 8% of the global population.
8.2.
Lucky I didn't know that. I would have gone even higher and been even more wrong.
No, I think that was a very close guess. So that's interesting fact or quote of the week. What was your? You didn't do your.
I did my quote.
What was it?
One of the best things you can do to change the world is change yourself or something. It's rubbish. Don't worry about it.
I don't remember you saying that quote. Because it was that. Can you just tell me again? Sorry.
Hang on. It's on my list of things. This is my folder on my notes called Personal Greatness.
Personal greatness.
I've got loads on here.
Just give me a quote. Sorry, because I want to listen.
One.
Sorry.
Creating a joyful life experience is why you are actually here.
That's very good.
It's true as well, isn't it?
Yeah. Creating a joyful life experience
is why you're actually here.
Mm. Most people are unhappy, aren't they?
Do you think so?
Yeah, I do actually.
Do you?
Yeah,
I've become really happy recently.
Have you?
Yeah, really happy. But I'm focusing on being happy. No, but honestly, but I look at all this after now, and actually, someone came up to me today. They're like, "Oh, I really appreciate the stuff you've been sharing about, like some of the challenges you've been going through." I really went down the wrong rabbit hole of just chasing someone else's dream, and then got to a point where I was like,
What dream was you chasing?
like building an agency to sell an agency to some bigger agency. It was all completely fictitious, and then I have it in my ear. You going, "No one's buying an agency. See. It's all about our management." Man. I've got an echo effect, so I have to do my own echo for you.
Yeah.
People say, because
So,
but then that's what I realised. And I was like, what am I actually doing this for?
yeah.
And I think you can just get sucked into somebody else's dream. And I was like, this is not actually what I want to do.
That's really interesting.
I've got
That's very
more money in my
powerful.
bank than I've had in the last 3 years. I've got more happiness in my life. I've got more control of my time. I've got less stress, less to worry about.
Are you worried that as you get complacent, you'll go again and try and build again?
Yeah, but I'll build differently this time.
Oh, so you already know that you are going to go again.
Yeah. I think once you've been bitten by the bug, but I'll go again in a way that's relative and real to me.
Okay. Well, I'm literally over the moon hearing that.
Good.
That has made my day.
Good. Thank you.
Really good. I think Chuds is very happy. You're a very happy person. I think Chuds has got a great life. He's got a wonderful partner. Your partner's great, and your kids are great. You love being a dad, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
So on that what's that circle of life thing you do?
The wheel of life.
The wheel of life. So
It's the wheel of life.
Wife's good.
Wife's good.
Family's good. Health's good.
Health's good. I think so. I had to go for a blood test today, so it
Yeah.
could all come crashing down around my ears.
Business, wealth, all good.
Yeah,
He smashed it.
all good.
I wish I had a jingle I could play for you that says, "You've smashed life." But I haven't.
But you haven't.
So we now move on to Q&A.
Hey gang, we're going back to the pod in just a moment, but I wanted to tell you about Entrepreneurs University. This is a platform that I've created for entrepreneurs and business owners that are serious about growth. There's 100 video lessons from me on everything in business, raising finance, buying companies, property investment, and everything in between. Attached to each video is a downloadable PDF that goes into more detail about what we've learned in the video. It goes one step further than that because I've also put stuff that you won't get anywhere else onto Entrepreneurs University. The lessons go into way more detail, but not just that. You're going to get my business plans, my spreadsheets, and all the files that I use to drive the KPIs in my business. Just think about how powerful that could be for your business. And here's the good news. You can try Entrepreneurs University for free. 14-day free trial. After that, it will cost you just $49.99 a month. That's less than a pair of Nikes to grow the profitability in your business. There's a link in the video description, and I cannot wait to see you in Entrepreneurs University.
Yeah, Q&A, which we've never done before. Well, apparently you have done before, but not in this current format. So we put out earlier on your socials across Insta, LinkedIn, and YouTube community. Who knew that was a thing? Chuds did, obviously. Got himself a plaque in it and everything. So we've now we've got a bunch of questions. I've never seen the questions. You've never seen the questions. We're literally going to quick fire Q&A.
Quickfire Q&A. Let's do it, baby.
Because you've got to get home, haven't you?
Well, I mean, I'm off to Wembley in the morning, then Birmingham. Yeah, so I've got a busy day.
The entrepreneurial dream, you say?
No, it's...
Wembley and Birmingham. Stop, you're making me jealous. Where are you going to go next? He's off to Scunthorpe. You're having a laugh, aren't you? He's going to Scunny as well. Couldn't make it up, could you? He's a man of the people, isn't he? He's a man of the people, old Jimbo Sinclair. Right, you ready for this?
Yeah,
then?
I'm ready.
Right, Q&A.
What, we got jingles or are we just doing it?
Oh, I was going to raw dog it. We're just raw dogging this Q&A.
Should we have said that?
I'm not sure. You know,
Yeah.
what have I got here? I've got, have I got anything? No, I don't think I have. I've got the blind date theme music.
Oh, I love this. This was my song.
So good, wasn't it?
Yeah, I used to play this all the time, and Chuds used to go, "Why are you playing that?" Do you know that?
It's so good though, isn't it? I haven't got. What's this? No, we're just gonna go. We're gonna.
No, we can't have that.
Right, I have got. Right, Ice Cream Wales asked you, who can you recommend for getting VAT advice in the ice cream industry? Pray hands.
Who can I recommend for getting VAT advice? Specialist food VAT specialists. I can't think. There is a few, but I don't want to recommend them on air. If you email into me via my team, I will point you into the direction of a VAT specialist. So info@jamessinclair.net and my team will pick that up.
Wow. Watch your inbox get absolutely filled with random questions now. Number 2. Oh, no, that one's for me. Oh, my God, someone asked me.
Go on, what's your question?
No,
Listen, I'll read it out. JB, you're so fit. Why did...
Thanks for noticing, Oscar.
Oh, no, JB, why did you stop your property management business?
Because I absolutely hated it. It was another great example of building climbing a ladder against the wrong wall. We had 23 properties, managed 15 million quid worth of bricks and mortar, had 93 tenants, probably had about 1,000 people go through those rooms, all HMOs, and I absolutely categorically hated it.
I'm going to tell you something.
But if I knew then what I know now, I'd have a much better business because I just did that whole profitable job thing.
Do you know, I had 2 guys here today that came and saw me to do Airbnb, that sort of stuff with me.
Okay.
3-4 years ago. They said, we'll take on your block of flats.
Was one called David?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, I know him.
Yeah. Yes. He said, we could turn this into a brilliant business for you, blah, 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 blah. We've got loads of these.
What are they doing now?
Not doing it. They got rid of the lot. They're doing care homes because they've realised that serviced accommodation, Airbnb, and they were doing it properly. They had a lot of, and they just couldn't make it work. Look, you've just got to do real business, haven't you? These little shortcut things doesn't work, gang.
No.
Reps and sets, baby.
So Oscar also asked you a question. He said, if you could give yourself 2 pieces of advice, we ain't got time for it, Oscar. You're so greedy. If you could give yourself 1 piece of advice when you started out, what would it be? Oscar trains at the gym over the road. There you go. Small world.
I think finding a highly successful, wealthy entrepreneur and just literally turn up at his house and beg him to be your mentor and find someone that's nice, that's looked up. If you could find a James Martin, for example, who was on the last podcast, or a me that's got time. This is the other thing. They've got to have time. And maybe they've exited. They've got many millions of pounds in the bank and they could give you some stuff. But, you've got to learn before you really earn.
Who was your...
I didn't really have that.
No,
and that's why I'm saying that's why I think if I had it earlier, I could have been ahead earlier.
Do you think?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But I didn't think about commercial property until someone told me when I was 27. If someone had told me all about that...
Oh, no, he didn't learn. He did not learn that secret to success till 27.
No, but if someone had told me about commercial property at 18 being such a wonderful thing rather than flats and houses, I would have bought my first one when I was 21. Yeah, I would have made it.
Okay.
Do you see what I mean? I would have moved it along. But because my circle were doing buy-to-lets, because that's what everyone was doing. No one said, go and buy a warehouse. This is what it will make for you. It's such a better business model. Go and buy these types of businesses. These are the models. I think it would have made a big difference.
Random question, which hasn't been asked, but I'm going to jump into it. James Martin, for you, is he still that sort of a person, even though that maybe you've got a bigger team, you've got a bigger empire? Is he still Martin, that to you?
I just love being around it. He's
such a nice bloke. I'd never tell him to his face because his ego don't need it, but my God, he's lovely.
I find him funny. I find him infectious. And every time I want to say, he's one of the rare people that just is not bothered by success. I'm thinking about buying this, and he'll go, well, what, have you thought about that? Have you thought about that? And then I'll do the same to him. Yeah. So it's really a good little mastermind that we've sort
just
of...
the two of you.
Because he would go and borrow £10 million tomorrow if the deal was stacked up.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people like that. I would go and borrow £10 million tomorrow if it all stacked up.
Yeah, interesting.
So it's just good to have those...
sorts of people around.
Yeah.
Okay. The Sam Norris said, what's the number 1 tip that you give to a service-based company to hit 1 million quid in annual revenue?
Contracts and businesses that need to have regular services from you. So what does that mean? So a waste collection business, that they always need those waste bins serviced. They will be buying from you very regularly, and you could go and tender and for £2 million contracts probably quite easily, and you can quickly get that. So you choose the right sector that are hungry for more, waste being one of them.
I was doing some research earlier for a client, and he mentioned this little waste company, and it's a little waste company. Like he's like, oh, there's loads of these about. They're doing 58 million quid a year, all contracts.
Yeah, waste is massive.
There's muck, there's brass. Where do you find? This is from a farm shop. Where do you find your best staff?
Recruit on attitude over skill set, which people make a lot of mistakes with. They go, oh, she's worked in retail or he's worked in retail for 20 years, must be really experienced, and they've got the dog attitude that destroys the business's culture. So it's always best to recruit from within and grow people and train people and bring them up. Look, recruiting people is difficult. The best thing I can do is read my new book, The Dream Team, that one day will come out.
It's still out.
I don't know where we've done all the work, but my team are working on that. But it's going to come out. Have we got a date for it yet, Chuds? No, we don't want deadlines like that put upon us. But I've heard it's going to come out before 2030.
Right. Okay.
So not long
fantastic.
to wait, gang.
Absolutely. Get on that wait list, people. You need it. Would you, when you're looking at senior stuff, what have you written down there? Sort of book date out.
Yeah. And we do need to sort that out, don't we, really, Chance? I mean, I wrote that 3 years ago. We've actually. Oh wow! It's a formatting issue.
I will probably come back to work for you and leave again before that thing comes out, won't I?
No, it's a formatting print issue. It's not that I've even done the audio book. I've done the audio book as well.
In terms of the staff thing, so for senior level people in your squad, especially like the ones who are close to you, everyone's come through, haven't they? You don't hire I know you don't have C-suite, but you don't hire C-suite in, do you?
When you say, what, do you hire senior people in?
Yes.
Yeah, we've just hired a very senior person in our childcare business.
Oh, have you?
Yeah.
Oh, I forget what I just said then.
Yeah, I mean, they're a childcare director. I mean, you can't.
So where do you hire that sort
we
of person
want to
from?
recruit, we use a recruitment agency there.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, we did use a recruitment agency. Yeah, we will do that stuff. We'll do multiple interviews when we get them, but we would always want to try and recruit within or through recommendation from our existing team.
Right.
That's if you've got a really good person that works for you and you say to them, do you know anyone that would fit in with our culture that works like you, that you might have worked with him before? And that can be a really good top tip as well.
That is a good tip.
And honestly, usually they're the most honest guy. But they're a really good friend of mine, but they're a bit lazy and they're not going to work here. Well, it's great. Save everyone a bit of time.
Yeah.
But if they do say, I actually know this person that's really good, they can be really smart.
Nice, good tip. If you had, I don't even want to ask this, but be patient. If you had 80 grand to start in property, what would you do?
I would build a business first so that I could then sell the business and do property on steroids.
There you go.
Look, guys, this whole property thing, it's business first and then try and buy the property that your business operates out of. And obviously now, the stamp duty to buy a second property is 5% premium on top of the standard stamp duty rates. It's just awful. Do you know what the stamp duty is? If you buy a £3 million house or something like that, you're into like £500,000 worth of stamp duty.
Crazy, isn't it?
What? Hello? Stupid.
What are all those like HMO landlords in the south of the country going to do? Because it's just not going to be. It's not going to be
they've got
feasible.
It's okay, isn't it? But if someone buying it.
Difficult. Yeah, if they've got it now, but like I say, if they're looking to expand, and then also you look at the fact that there's a housing shortage, how's that all? That not work out.
The thing is that, JB, we discuss this a lot on the podcast. People want shortcuts. It's the human beings. I mean, one of the big lessons I think I've learned over the last year or 2 years is, as a race, we want convenience more and more. And I've always spoke about this air conditioning. Or electric windows in the car, because we didn't want to do that anymore. So we found more convenient ways to do things. Now, Ozempic and all these weight loss drugs, everyone's been raving about them, haven't they? Taking them, buying them on the black market, because actually I would rather just take the pill or take the injection than actually look at what I'm eating and do a little bit of exercise.
Yeah.
Because I could and it worked for Adele. Last time I checked, she has. But now I've seen loads and loads of reports of how bad these things are now on your thyroid glands and all this stuff, and how it can really cause you problems. We all know that reps and sets is always the best thing for you.
Yeah.
It makes you a better person. You learn a skill, but most people don't want to put all the reps and sets in. And that's what they're doing with property. They're thinking this is a fast way to wealth. It's not. building a business
Zempec is residential property is the Zempec of business. It's the shortcut you don't really want.
It used to be though.
Yeah.
The government have really. I mean, my dad.
They hate it now, don't they?
Yeah.
They
absolutely hate it, and they're making it worse and worse and worse. And do you know? But my dad has done very well out of being a residential property. That go back sort of 20, 30 years ago, or even 15 years ago, or even 10 years ago, it really was a good
But it was
thing.
the standard British thing, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Work really hard, try and buy a second house, put some money aside, have 2 or 3 of them, and that's your pension.
Yeah.
Your bricks and mortar is your pension.
Well, no more.
The times they are a-changing. David asked, what would you look into? Would you look into getting inventory finance to help build stock range faster to grow?
I would always look at it depending on the deal. I mean, there's so many factors to that. I wouldn't just do it for a willy-nilly, or it'd be nice to have it. But if I've got a big contract that says I'm going to give you £1 million a year if you have these stock lines, and that's going to be more or less guaranteed from a big covenant-backed company that's got lots of money, I would absolutely consider doing that. Yes, sir. But I wouldn't just do it for shits and giggles.
Yeah. So you're not using it to bolster cash flow or reserves. You're doing
Yeah,
it for a specific
I want
purpose.
some guarantee around it.
Gotcha. Van Life Conversions UK says, what are your thoughts on outsourcing production versus hiring to do it in-house?
Anyone that watches my stuff in-house all the way.
Obviously. These are coming now from LinkedIn. Sorry, so they're slightly longer
Can
questions.
I just say, on the caveat there, unless it was so much cheaper to make it abroad that you would have to consider it. So there is a company that was a manufacturing business here in the UK that I spoke to recently. They have outsourced everything to Slovakia.
Really?
They had like 200 staff here in the UK, massive business, engineering business, and they just cannot keep up with the pay in this country and actually getting the staff. So the stuff and actually getting people to do stuff that want to work overtime and actually make the stuff turn up on time. You know, they find that very hard to find engineering type, manufacturing type people. They've moved all to Slovakia and they're just doing the marketing and sales here in the UK.
Wow. That's the sign of the times, isn't it?
Yeah.
One from LinkedIn here. What do you see as the biggest challenges that businesses are going to face in 2025 and how can they start preparing now?
I am concerned about a stoke on inflation again because of these pay rises and the government borrowing lots of money. I'm not sure it's going to happen, but it could happen. And inflation to me is the thing that makes us all poorer and makes everything tougher. Because if inflation gets out of control, interest rates go up and you're borrowing money and then people don't borrow it. And you need businesses investing and borrowing money to grow their business. And if all of that stops because of high interest rates and you become a country just servicing interest and debt, it becomes a very
stagnant, isn't it?
It's horrible.
Yeah.
And I am concerned about that. So, but stoicism, I can't control interest rates. It's not just me that's controlling inflation, but I've got to think about that. You know, we're a big business now. I've got to think about that.
How do you, that's a really interesting point. How do you juxtapose that stoicism? Juxtapose.
I've never heard
So how
that.
do you hold like the two things at the same time? So how do you go, I can't control that, but you need to be mindful of it. Like, how do you correlate that in your head?
Well, so what would you be doing? You would maybe looking at your debt. Can you fix all your interest rates on your debt? If you're on a variable rate, which lots of businesses are, can you fix it if you think that you can get a good deal? So that'd be one of the things. But it's not just me, it's the rest of the 70 million people that live in the UK. If people haven't got money in their pocket, they're not putting it into the economy that helps everyone grow, doesn't it? And that's what interest rates do. They try and deflate a inflating nation, and we've seen that recently. And so I have a huge concern because we've got inflation under control. It is dropping, and if it goes up to 2.5%, 3%, that's all right. We can live with that. But if it goes back up to those 10s and 11% again, that will be very damaging. And then managing a business with ever increasing overheads, because what governments are doing is they're doing more and more turnover taxes. And by increasing employers' national insurance is a turnover tax that's going to make every business not invest more because they'll be spending more on not paying their staff. This is going to the government. So it's going to be tough. I think
The things like shutting certain like farm attractions and stuff and only open weekends, for example, you mentioned that on a previous episode. That's something that you'd consider. So you're doing that's almost like pragmatic
Well,
stuff.
you look at Marsh Farm. So I think traded 195 days this year. So, but we might not open every weekend. And I think you'll start seeing that stuff. Like
Can
cinemas.
you imagine when you took that place over
No,
18 years
never.
ago, you would have a weekend, like a Saturday and Sunday when the weather might be nice,
Yeah.
and you were going to be shutting your doors.
Well, I'm not saying that that's going to happen yet, but they're the sorts of considerations because that happened in the 1970s, JB.
Yeah.
People were working 3-day weeks. Electric wasn't on 7 days a week. You know, that there was, bin collections, once every 3 weeks or whatever. They did have these adjustments, and that's what inflation can do. It can really cause problems.
Worrying times. We have had another one from LinkedIn. We'll do a couple more of these because we're trying to do it quick fire. Walk us through your average or not so. Okay. So James, walk us through your average or not so average week. How do you spend your time and how is it divided between your businesses? Do you have set days for different companies or how much time is allocated to deal flow and M&A?
I'm doing a lot of M&A, probably a day and a half a week.
Is it really?
Goes on to
Wow.
M&A. I probably now spend, if I averaged it out, some weeks is way more on content, but I'm definitely doing a day a week on content, would you say, Chance?
So that's half your week gone at M&A and content.
And then the other
very telling.
is going on managing businesses that are new to the fold or are in trouble and need my brain. So one that maybe is not performing too well.
Do you have do you do weekly management meetings or is that like a monthly
So
thing?
all
or
those
weekly?
weekly management meetings are happening with all the different brands. But if someone is not making money and needs help or is going through a big investment process or we've just bought it, then I would go to a weekly management meeting. And then I have a board meeting for every business, whether it's doing well or bad or indifferently every month to discuss the numbers.
So there might be on a weekly basis, there's companies that you do not touch and you've got no active role in at all.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting. A couple more. Ben asked, what to look for when choosing a high street business bank? Is there ones who you'd avoid or recommend? Starting a business with Starling, but finding it's limited as we grow in terms of funding.
I think what I would do is get a good business broker that has access to all the high street banks and will create a beauty parade for your business and write you up and present them to all the different banks. And then they'll come back with the best offers for you. If you email us at info@jamessinclair.net, we will introduce you to someone that can do that for you.
Perfect. We've only got 3 more questions, so I'm going to ask them all rapid fire. Sam says, great show, following James on YouTube for nearly 2 years now. I live in Basildon, Essex, and I've opened my first bricks and mortar off the learnings of his podcast.
Oh, that's
How
great.
cool is that?
That's really good.
Going very, very well. My question is, I'm 30 years old, first generation business owner from the same place in Essex as you, putting it all in to make it work. What advice would you have given yourself after a year into Partyman World project that would have made the biggest difference as an entrepreneur if you'd known that then versus now?
Well, the 3 KPI rule, which I know you're just going to take the piss out of me for.
No,
but
I love it.
Producing average customer value, working out what your spend per head is, really important. Understanding your labour to turnover ratio. And the third one, monthly management accounts. If you do those 3 things, study them like a hawk, your business will be more profitable and probably will survive.
When you're doing those, when you're setting out those KPIs to start with, what is it you're actually looking for? In like a P&L, for example, or how do you get, where would someone
look at
go?
the labour to turnover ratio. If you're in hospitality and leisure and you are spending 90% of your revenue on labour, you're going to go bust. It's not sustainable. If it's 20%, that's really good. But lots of them hover around 44%, and that's too high. And eventually you'll go, why am I doing this? I'm paying all the staff for nothing for myself. Pretty much like your podcast business. You were collecting all the revenue and giving it all to your staff and having none for yourself. Now, lots of entrepreneurs and business owners do that for 3 or 4 or 5 years, thinking that there's going to be a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. And in some cases, that does happen.
Yeah.
Lots of businesses have a hockey stick approach where it's like this, and then bosh, the profitability goes through the roof. And that happens a lot in software, by the way. You know, you look at Netflix investing loads of money into content, then actually we get those compounding effects of subscribers, and then actually making Stranger Things is a really cheap day out because we've got many millions of subscribers giving us £10 a month. But they know that because they've got really smart accountancy people putting it into a spreadsheet. They're saying, look, if we get this many more subscribers, making Stranger Things and House of Cards becomes really cheap. And the similar thing is I'm producing monthly management accounts, looking at my labour to turnover ratio and my average order value. If those three things are going in the right direction, then that's good. But most people, like we said in the last episode with John Holiday, are not knowing their numbers. They are just not. And they can have a business doing many millions of pounds and they still don't know their numbers. They base their business's success by how much cash is in the bank account. And that is a folly.
You've got guides on all that stuff in Entrepreneurs University?
Yeah, got that, yeah.
Go on, give them the sales pitch.
If you want to go to Entrepreneurs University and try my online coaching course to help you be a better entrepreneur, you can try it free for 14 days. Then it's less than a pair of Nikes to grow your business. I think it's 50 quid a month. But all of my spreadsheets that I use in my business are all in Entrepreneurs University. And you can sign up for free 14 days on my website, jamessinclair.net.
And it's very, very good.
Thank you.
Penultimate question, which means the one before last. I just love that as a word. Penultimate. It just sounds cool, doesn't it? I have a creative business in which I am the creator/public figure that is teaching. It's in the music niche. My question is how to make this business less about me, more revenue streams that are not dependent on me without my direct involvement while with building out these revenue streams, as I'm already busy with keeping up with the content and the management. Thank you so much for considering my question.
This is a problem with personal brand businesses, but Walt Disney and Richard Branson sorted it out. And what you should do is try and use your personal brand to hopscotch it into brands that are not around your personality. So for me, I'm doing quite well on YouTube and the podcasts and stuff. You're doing this, but actually you can give lease to your podcast agency for people that want to start a podcast on the back of your personal brand. For me, people come to my seminars, but actually that's not the real win. For me, it's when someone wants to sell their business, if they're predetermined to sell it to me, or, hey, do you know what? I bought the Cafe Deli business, made a YouTube video about that. Someone watched it and said, I'd like you to supply all my coffee shops with all of those suppliers, please. And I want to move to you because I've been following your content, or I'd like to buy your ice cream now because you're in London and you can sell me your ice cream. All of those are the big wins out of content marketing. But if you don't have something else to push it onto, that's a bit rubbish, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about Taylor Swift, for example, she makes a little bit out of content on the stream. I mean, obviously she probably does make many millions of pounds from the streaming and stuff. But actually when people pay £300 for an Eras Tour ticket, that's big money, isn't it?
I always say to people, it's like a director's loan. Like loan it out to your other stuff. Your personal brand, you can director's loan it. Final question then, from a guy called Massive Willie on YouTube. So there you go, fantastic. Shout out to Matt.
That's not his name.
That's his name. That's not his name. Don't zoom too far in his profile picture, though. I mean, he's telling the truth there. It's the only name I bothered to read out. Why did I choose that one? Shout out to Massive Willie. Which businesses do you think will be affected most by Labour's 2024 budget, James Sinclair?
Hospitality and leisure businesses are going to find it tough. Any service-based business and any business that employs lots of people. I think if you employ people, it's now giving you a layer of complication.
Challenging times ahead.
Yeah.
Right, before we wrap up this Quickfire Q&A, let us know what you thought, by the way, of the Quickfire Q&A. Wasn't that Quickfire, but it was a Q&A.
At all.
I'm sorry about that. And we've still got one more final thing to do because we can't go without doing this.
It's business quiz
Jim
time.
versus JP on the quiz that's businessy. Business knowledge and it's fun. Which one's clever and which one's dumb? Izzy Wizzy, let's get quizzy.
Bam, bam.
People like this section, don't they?
They do.
These envelopes are much stronger than the other envelopes. I mean, you feel like a PT session.
Super
It's just really strong. Okay, here we go. Saudi Arabia
here we go.
is one of the world's biggest producer of oils. How much of oil? Sorry, not oils. How many liters did it produce each day in 2023? So Saudi Arabia is one of the biggest producers of oils in the world. How much did they produce in terms of litres each day? I'm not good on oil.
No. I'm literally having a stab in the dark at this.
How many litres? Because they talk in barrels, don't they? I've heard that on the... They don't put it in barrels, do they? But that's how they quantify
50 barrels of oil right now. $50 a barrel.
Yeah, that's what they say, don't they? How many litres in a barrel?
Loads. It's exactly loads. I reckon it's 50 litres in a barrel.
Yeah, I was going with that. 50 litres in a
So I
barrel.
reckon. Let's just have a stab in the dark. I'm going to go litres. I think they're pulling out 3 million litres a day, which is about, 15,000 barrels a day just out of Saudi Arabia.
I'm going to go with 5 million.
5 million. Means I'm right. Look at the look on his face, dead behind the eyes.
No, I think you're wrong.
Am I?
It's 13.5 million barrels a day.
What did I say? 15 million?
No, you said, didn't you said 3 and I said 5.
No, I said 15, didn't I?
I think you said 3. And then
I said 15. No, I said, did I? We're going to have to replay. We don't actually know who won. Hang on, 3 million. Yeah, shall we have to watch it back? Oh, he's actually going to watch. We're going to have a live replay. This has been a podcast of first. We've never had to have a live action replay because I've forgotten what I said.
We've stopped recording, have we?
No. These ones are fine.
Okay, so there's an increase of from 12 million in 2022, but this is really interesting. That's 11% of the total world's oil production comes from Saudi Arabia.
Wow. Oh, damn it. Damn it, Chudley.
I'm just going to superimpose my trophy of wins there. I mean, that was a guess from me, though. But
you guessed correct.
But yeah, that's it. 11% of the world's oil goes to Saudi Arabia.
Hey, have you seen how big Saudi Arabia is?
Yeah,
it's tiny.
Can you just check out what's the population of Saudi Arabia?
Oh, let's have another guess. I reckon 4 million.
I reckon 5 million. It's going to be. It's small because.
Did I say 4 million or 14 million?
The UAE's got 9 million people that live there, and only 1 million of them are Emiratis.
Really?
Yes, there's 8 million expats. 5 million.
I said 3. 4. I said 4.
Oh, wow. So there's quite a few.
Wow. Okay.
But they're still half the size of the UK. Yeah, but Dubai is very small, isn't it? And Saudi Arabia. But 35 million, if you're bringing in 11% of the world's oil production and there's only 34 million people, that's half the population of the UK. You can see why that country's got a lot of it longer.
You can indeed. Well, there you go. Well, hopefully you enjoyed listening to this episode of the podcast. Let us know what you thought of the format. Do you like Q&A?
Yeah.
I think we should do some more Q&A stuff. I think we should do Q&A with videos. So people can send their video. They'll be like, hi, James, I'm such and such. I'm Barry from Skegness.
Then we do that. Okay, ladies and ladies. Ladies and gents, thanks for watching and listening to the business broadcast. If you're watching on YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. It helps our egos more than you can ever know. And if you're watching or listening on all of the podcast platforms, leave us a review because it gives us a bit of feedback, yeah?
It does give us feedback, and it also helps with the algorithm.
Yeah, it does.
Never really out of the top 10 in the entrepreneurship category these days, are we?
No, now, not when we're doing Q&A episodes.
No, you're joking. Watch. You can't find us in the top 10. Look right at the top. We're at number 1, I bet. Oh, there you go. See you on the next one.
See you, gang. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching today, gang. I hope you enjoyed the show. Now, look, we're looking for some great businesses to come on the podcast. If you've got challenges, but you're desperate to grow your business and you can't necessarily work out how to do it on your own, you'll be a perfect candidate to come here on the podcast. It's absolutely free to come on the show. Go to my website, jamessinclair.net, and there's a podcast button. Click on the podcast button, fill in the application form, and we'll do our very best to get you on the show and try and grow your business. If you're loving the podcast, make sure you subscribe to the channel by clicking here. And why not give this one a watch? I think you'll like it.